I would like to introduce Abinet Tasew, who will be speaking about how to improve access to quality secondary education and leadership skills for girls in Ethiopia. Presentation is part of this first panel on advancing education and health. So with no further ado, Abinet, please begin.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming out today. My name is Abinet Tasew. One thing that's not introduced about me is I'm a mother of a baby boy. So when I talk about access to quality secondary education and leadership training for girls in Ethiopia, please don't get me wrong. I really am concerned about boys as well. So when you see this title, you may ask why I would really want to talk about access to secondary education for girls in rural Ethiopia. So in our community, whenever you go to the formal sector, whenever you go to the productive sector, the number of men and women varies significantly. So you see many men over less women. So I start to ask questions to myself. Why? So today I will be talking about education not as an end in itself, but as a means to a greater end. When you see this picture and when you see the statistics, or when you think about more men over women in the productive sector, do you really want to ask the question why? Or do you just say, it is the way it is, what's wrong with it? It's okay, it's fine, we just can live with it. For me, I don't say that. I always ask the why question. It always bothers me. Why am I not seeing more women presidents? Why we don't have at least one female university president in my country of all like 33 universities? It's troubling me. So I started studying. The why question is a powerful question. It will take you to the root cause of a problem. So I would like you, whenever I talk about girls' education, I would like you to follow me with the why question in your head. Why do I want to do this? Why do I want to bring more women to the productive sector? So before talking about education per se, I will share a story with you, a true story of a woman I know, a woman who's dear to me. This woman, she got married when she was only 13 years old. And it was not peculiar to this particular woman to get married by that age. It was reality for so many other girls in her communities. So she got married when she was only 13 years old, and the statistics also shows of 5 girls in Ethiopia, 1 of them will get married before the age of 15. Isn't that terrible? So this woman, she gets married when she was only 13 years old, and she flee her husband's house the first night, but unfortunately she was already pregnant. So at the end of the day, she ended up having 4 girls, not from this first marriage, but she had to rely on marriage so that she raised her girls. She really despised her family, her parents, because they didn't send her to school, that they denied her right to education. But she was certain, she was sure of one thing though. She said, I am going to send my girls, my 4 daughters to school, and I'll see them graduate. Of course, she got successful with the 2 of them. Education, during her time, access to primary education was not good during this woman's time. But now in Ethiopia, we have more than 33,000 primary schools. And we have achieved access to universal universal access to primary education. And we have like more girls in schools, more boys in schools, and the enrollment rate is about 100%. Now the problem starts as we go ahead and as we transition from primary to secondary school. When we go to secondary school, now we have more than 33,000 primary school, but how many secondary school do we have? We only have less than 3,000 schools, so you can calculate the ratio. It's like one secondary school for about 12 schools. So as we go along again to the tertiary level, the enrollment rate will highly drop. So we only have 33% enrollment rate in universities. So you want more women in the formal sector. If you don't have educated men and women in numbers, you cannot have them in the formal sector, in the formal economy. So we should be working on education. And I found out that the problem starts where? Secondary education, right? So what do I have to do? I have to devise a mechanism so that I build a school. I build a school in that women's community. That woman I told you about. So this school is not going to be a mere secondary school. It's gonna be called Tamsalit Leadership Academy, and Tamsalit is a local word to mean role model. So this school will make sure that we produce lots of rural role model girls who can lead in their respective sectors. This school will provide leadership, mentorship, coaching. It's not only going to be a secondary school, a mere secondary school. And the impact will be high, significantly higher graduation rate at the tertiary level. What would success look like? Success would look like gender equality, definitely in the formal economy. But gender equality, again, is not an end in itself. It's a means to development. We are in the 21st century, and we have how many students out of school, students for secondary school age? We have about 6.5 million. We cannot afford to have 6.5 million children out of school. We cannot afford to have women in the house. We cannot afford to keep on letting women grow roots in the domestic sphere and men wings in the productive sector in the 21st century. One thing that we have, the precious gift that we have, is our human capital, and we have to use it. In order for us to use our human capital, we should be able to let education serve its purpose. Success, the final success would look like a smile on that woman's face. The woman I told you about, that's my mother. That's a woman who made sure that I am standing here before you and talking to you about girls' education in my home country. So success would look like a smile on her face when, just like when it happened a couple of weeks ago, when her youngest child get graduated from university. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.